which I don't understand because refs throw lots of flags. They should be suspended. Hashtag suspend the refs.
Love it.
Not the same, but I like it.
I actually don't agree with Juju Smith-Schuster's suspension. I went back and looked at that block. That was, or could be considered, a textbook block. He was not. It was not a blind hit.
Definitely didn't.
He should not have. He should not have stood over him after.
It was forcible contact to the neck or head of a defensive player.
It was not to the neck or head.
It was
go look at it again.
Okay, I will.
And if there's anyone that deserves to be laid
out
in a bad way, it's him.
I don't support hurting players, but considering what Burfict does, then then I think Antonio Brown was right when he said karma.
Think it's kind of nice to see somebody get have to eat some of their own medicine and swallow their own pride in those situations. With that.
He seems like he's not hurt, but hey, Juju better watch out next time they play. You always have to because that rivalry right now is at insanity levels of violent, and they need to. I think the refs need to do a bit of a better job in stepping in a little quicker.
Absolutely. Well. The other one that I want to talk about is Rob Gronkowski. There's been a huge uproar. What do you guys think about the 1-game suspension for Rob Gronkowski?
Should have been more.
Yeah. I think
why should it have been more?
I think it should have been a 2-game because that was a really dangerous hit. Yes, it's his first offense, and he's not normally a violent player, but that dude was on the ground, defenseless, and you come in and you lay an armored elbow onto the back of his head like that. That could have killed him. Just because you can't see something breaking doesn't mean his brain's not experiencing a ton of trauma.
Here's the reason I think it should have been more. The actions that Juju Smith did was in the course of play. Juju Smith believed he was laying a block listen, I know the crack block's supposed to be illegal. Okay? I get that. That's where I can see Juju Smith-Schuster and him standing over was unnecessary. What makes me believe that Gronkowski should be suspended more was the fact that the play was over. It was done. You might have felt some type of way about not getting a call, but you were up. You got off of the ground. You hesitated for a moment, which makes me realize that you processed in your head for a second, maybe I shouldn't do what I'm about to do, but you went ahead and maliciously, with intent, did that.
Yeah.
We watched you have the moment to walk away. You could have gone to the bench, you could have cursed, you could have beat up a field goal net, and you wouldn't have gotten suspended. Maybe the field goal net would have hit you back. You don't know. But that being said, you looked at the guy laying on the ground, knowing that the play was completely over, thought about it for a second, and still went ahead with the intention. There's no way there could have been any other intention than to actually physically harm somebody who was defenseless.
And I get being frustrated because he did, he was getting held a lot. There were a lot of missed calls that the refs, should have thrown flags for. But it's not like this was late in the game.
You're game's
up by
decided.
Yeah, you're up by 3 touchdowns.
The kid's a rookie.
Yeah, you have to have some awareness and. I don't know. Maybe Gronk's taken too many hits. Maybe this is early signs of CTE or something. But that was just completely uncalled for.
I just think it was a situation where he let the emotions get the better of him. This had nothing to do with you doing something illegal in the course of playing football. This was your choice to deliberately try and hurt somebody after the fact that the idea of playing football was over. I mean, I'm actually all for, now we didn't get a chance to Crabtree and Talib. I'm all for if those two want to do that, let them take their helmets off and go fist punch. I'll watch it. They let it go down in hockey. Fine, both of you are getting ejected from this game, but take the helmets off and let's see it. I'm all for that.
Yeah,
if you want to call each other out and be like, okay, we're doing this, okay, and then you take the helmets off and you want to do it that way, fine.
Yeah,
nobody's going to do that with
the mutual combat law.
Yeah, fine. Both accept your ejection, both accept your suspension, but let's see you throw fisticuffs. Gronk wasn't doing that. There's no way that White even saw him coming. He was laying on the ground,
face down,
like, oh my god, I can't believe I actually got another interception in the NFL. I'm having such a great season. Oh my god, what is that?
Yeah. I don't know how many times you watched it. He wasn't like like you had just described it.
He
had someone on his legs.
Yeah, but he was
out of bounds.
Yeah, he was tackled, and the person was still on his legs getting up, and Gronk came and
But on top of it, it's not like he's showboating. It's not like maybe you could be frustrated by the hold, but your actions are not justifiable in any way, shape, or form.
I am okay with the 1-game suspension. For the simple reason that I fully anticipated it being a 2-game suspension, appealed down to 1. Cut out all that garbage. Just give him the 1 right now. Tell him no appeal. We're going to give you 1. If you try to appeal, we're upping it to 2, and then you'll get 1 anyways.
I just saw some really fun facts, but I want to briefly talk about the other big hit in the
one on AB.
I believe so.
Ilioka.
Yeah, he got no suspension because it was a clean hit. They had initially suspended him. He didn't appeal. I guess he asked them to review it. And they reviewed it, and an independent committee said that's not vicious, that it just looked bad.
I agree with that decision because when a player's coming down, first of all, it's very hard with momentum, and I think we underestimate as viewers the speed at which these players are traveling.
Antonio Brown got up at one point. The season got up to like 18 miles an hour.
This has spurred the NFL. They're going to consider a targeting rule in the offseason.
Yes, yes.
So,
right, but I think it needs to be more heavily scrutinized because there is the idea, and this was made on the afternoon, Levac and Goss,
Gossfather,
the Gossfather. But it was
really quickly, I'm going to be on tomorrow.
Okay, nice. I'll listen.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of time. I got to get the ball in. But it was a great point made. It needs to be scrutinized because there are certain situations. Because if you're getting hit, well, your normal reaction is going to be to brace for such a thing. And if it's deliberately you're targeting, leading with your head, trying to aim for that, I agree the targeting rules probably should be in effect in the NFL. However, if you're in midair and somebody lowers down or is coming down with the ball, there's little you can do to alter where you're going at that point. Yeah. Listen, I'd love to be able to jump and be able to be like, I'm going to move over here midair. That's not going to happen. I can't defy gravity and I can't fly. Sucks. Wish I could.
Really quickly, they have the Knicks stars of the game that they're showing. I've literally only recognized one person, and it was Latrell Sprewell.
That's the kid. Hey, that's the kid from Stranger Things.
Oh, it is. You're right. Okay.
The other
At least I got another one.
The other hit that was horrifying was the Shazier hit.
I didn't see it.
I did not see it either, and I don't know that I want to.
You saw him lose control of his legs. It was terrifying. The good news is he is apparently fine. It was a contusion. But again, I think that supports these increased rules on how to tackle because he was tackling badly. He was leading with his head. And he, did get hurt, but thankfully it looks like it's not going to be as bad as initially feared. He's got feeling back, and he may only be out for a couple weeks.
Yeah. No, they had
texted CJ Mosley and said that he's fine. So
they had said later on in the broadcast that they heard back that he had feeling in his toes and some feeling was returning.
Well, what was scary to me is the one thing that I noticed was when watching the beginning of the replay was right after he laid down. The first thing he does was he starts moving his fingers just to make sure he wasn't paralyzed. And now, I don't wish this on anybody, and I don't want this to happen to anybody playing the sport because I think it's bad for the sport and it would take away from it. But there is part of me that wants to play the other side of the coin here where this may not necessarily be a bad thing in the fact that we need a hard-hitting, hard-playing, notable defensive player that's experienced something like this to stand out and finally come forward and be like, we need to make sure we as defenders are properly tackling. Not for just for the safety of the offensive players, but for our safety as well.
Well, it is because starting to, I think.
Right, but we don't see it enough.
Yeah, and you see it in... I think the Seahawks are a pretty good example of how to play with intensity and still hit hard. but to do so without leading with the head, because you rarely see it from them.
I blame linebackers. And
unless, of course, you're going to take cheap shots, and then they have Richard Sherman.
Here's the reason why I blame the linebackers.
Not this season anymore.
Is the 4 linebackers that I remember watching as I was growing up were Bobby Cox, Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, and Terrell Suggs. They were the big linebackers. And Keith Brooking, I guess, as well.
I mean, you can even go further. Look at just a history that has been linebackers. Lawrence Taylor, some of the hits he would level on people.
No, the difference is he was a good tackler. The 4 that I had named hit people. They hit people. They weren't very good form tacklers.
Lawrence Taylor would just hit you really hard.
Yeah, he had good technique. He had good form. The others, not necessarily. Brian Urlacher could cover middle of the field like no one's business, though. But
we're also seeing it right now in Kuechly. How many concussions has he had?
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons.
Yeah, he's going to be a vegetable at some point.
Yeah. Maybe V8 will sponsor him.
I wasn't going that way. Sooner than he would have wished. I have a very strong feeling that Luke Kuechly is going to have some drastic long-term effects from all these concussions later in his life.
Yeah, no. Anyone who plays as physical as he does, I guarantee a lot of the players that we see today that are young aren't going to make it too much longer. Le'Veon Bell, he's not going to make it much longer. He runs too physical. His body's going to break down, just like Eric Dickerson.
I mean, he's already kind of injury prone. So
LeGarrette Blount, same thing. Well, I think actually
Goodell signs new contract.
Yeah, $200 million and private jet for life and all that, yada, yada, yada. I didn't want this show to be depressing.
No, it is not.
Well, let's make it extra depressing for the Browns. Bill Belichick has the most coaching wins for the Cleveland Browns in the last 30 years.
Oh, interesting. And he was terrible with the Browns.
He was not good.
All right, so we are going a little long on time. We still got quite a few things to cover, so let's do this quick. Giants fired Jerry Reese and Ben McAdoo. First question, was this the right move?
Yes.
Yes? Unanimous?
Yes.
I was going to say till the end of the season, but it's already done. So.
Oh, no. That's the next question. Was this the right time?
Yes.
No. It should have been done sooner. As soon as Ben McAdoo said, we're going to be benching Eli Manning, and there's nothing Eli can do about it.
I understand the timing, because here's the thing. This was his last bet. He literally put all the chips on the table. He was either going to look like he knew what he was doing, and he was going to try and do something, and he was going to prove himself by taking this gamble, or you were going to be shown the door. Your gamble did not pay off. Bye. Personally, Jerry Reese, bad timing. Should have been happening 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jerry Reese definitely should have.
Jerry Reese couldn't draft.
Jerry Reese had the benefit of being with the team since 1994.
Understandable benefit, but if you look at his previous track record for drafting, it should have been enough to realize that maybe you're not seeing the sport the same way you used to.
Right. I think when people use the argument, well, he drafted Odell Beckham. I could have drafted Odell Beckham.
Yeah, that's not a genius.
He's an undeniable talent.
He also drafted Flowers, so where are we going with this?
In all fairness, Eric Flowers coming out of college was the best left tackle in the NFL, or in college football.
No. Eric Flowers played right tackle in college.
He played both tackles as needed.
Hasn't he been pretty
He's
good
actually been
since
pretty decent this year. Yeah.
Well, because now they're doing the run.
But that being said, he's also looking pretty good because, I mean, where do you... If you're at the bottom, you can't go anywhere but up.
If there's anything that Eric Flowers is telling me is that he needs to move to guard and run block.
Well, on this team, he's... they're better off using him at a tackle until they get more talent on that line.
Yeah.
Because if he's one of your best linemen, you might have a problem.
Well, no. Like I'm saying, when they started running more is when he really showed that he was competent. And the left tackle position is almost purely for pass protect. He needs to be moved to guard. Yeah. 100%. When they get a legitimate left tackle,
yeah, exactly.
He needs to move to guard. All right, let's continue on. Who should be the new general manager?
I'm not really sure who the candidates are, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see, and extensive search has to be done. I'm still unsure about that. That's one of the reasons that I think that this was the right timing, instead of reading longer. Do a thorough evaluation. I can't think of somebody right now that should take the position. Who?
Bill Cowher.